Good evening. We are Nerd Theorists, and this weekend, while I was shopping at Roll It in Scarborough, they asked me if I could possibly mention the extensive range of Kings of War merchandise that they currently stock. Unfortunately, we don't do shameless plugs on this channel, so instead, here's an aimless pug. Shall we build some terrain? Ugh, dirty. Now, we love a bit of Kings of War on this channel, and Tom and I were discussing the scenarios the other day and how nearly all of them require some sort of objective marker, which is all very well and good, but we like a bit of realism in our battles here at the Nerd Theorist, so I thought, let's knock up some large-scale terrain and use those as objective markers. And why don't I film it so you people can take the piss when it all goes wrong? Well, it didn't go wrong. Look at that. Cheap and easy. And here's what you'll need. 1 2-litre orange juice carton. A packet of lolly sticks, a packet of coffee stirrers, a packet of kebab skewers, some cocktail sticks, some Yoo-Hoo all-purpose adhesive, and some gel superglue. Firstly, you're going to want to do the tedious bits, which is cutting your lolly sticks down to size. So I've used my model clippers for this basically and just knocked the curvy end off. Held it up against the carton. Now, for the vast majority of the build, they've gone that way. So I just held it up, got a rough measurement. Some of the other bits I have done downwards, but you cut it to size as you go. It is tedious, but I would suggest getting the measurement of one and then just sticking something on telly and cutting them while you do it. Next up, you want to prepare your carton. You do this by using one of your miniatures for whatever scale you want to do. I'm using the Northern Alliance from Kings of War, and I just held him up to the front so I knew how big to do the door, give me a rough idea of the windows. You're then going to want to cut off the tab at the top and cut off the spout and get rid of that. And then fill in any gaps with some card and some tape. You don't have to be particularly neat and tidy with it because it's all going to get covered with sticks anyway. Now you'll notice that I've already poked one of the skewers through the windmill itself to make the blades, and that's what I'm going to do first. So again, it's just a case of cutting your coffee stirrers to the right length. Now what I've done is I sawed off the very end of this, glued the coffee stirrers on, and then glued the end back on to hold it in place. That will make it a lot more sturdy and stable, but you will need to let it sit for a good long while before you start mucking about with it. Once you're happy that the glue has set, you're going to want to do your blades, and it is just a case of cutting a slightly shorter length on one side and then making the slats and gluing them on all higgledy-piggledy, otherwise it will look far too neat. And once that's all dry, you should have something that looks a bit like this. Notice that I'm spinning it. It's not going to spin once I put it on. Dave did ask if I was putting a motor on it, but you know, he can piss off. Next up, you're going to want to cover the entire carton with the lolly sticks. Like I said, some are going to go vertical, some are going to go horizontal. Cut them to shape as you go, but the aim is to just cover the entire structure, top to bottom, with your lolly sticks first, and then we'll go over it for a bit more detail. Now it's time to give it a little bit of character. For this, you're going to want to put on some door frames, just bits of wood for the door frame, window frames, this piece around the blades on the wall, I don't even know what that's called, and then some of these little patch-up bits just to give it a bit of character, to make it look a little bit more ramshackled, like it's been patched up over the years. And yeah. Then it's time to move on to the roof, which is even more fiddly. I wanted the roof to be wider than the main structure. Obviously, these pieces are going to overlap, but I wanted it to jut out further. So the first thing I did was put some coffee stirrers long ways across to make the shape of the roof and make it overhang a bit. And then it was just a case of lots and lots of coffee stirrers, all cut different lengths as well, not all uniform. I wanted it to be a mishmash. I wanted some to overlap at the top and some to overlap at the bottom. 2 layers to give it a good uniform covering, and then again just a few little offcuts to make it look like it's been patched up a few times. I decided that it was too tall and lanky, so I wanted to put this porch on. So what I did for this was I stuck it on a piece of card, which was the covering for a takeaway container, and then I used some thicker square wood that was in the garage. I think it was just a piece of cheap doweling from B&Q. So I put a piece on each corner like so, and then I joined them together with a coffee stirrer just to make the main structure. And then again, same as the roof, it was just a case of cutting all the little lengths and sticking them on all the way around, and then a few little offcuts again. As you can see, some of these corner bits are hanging over further than others, but I think the whole look of the thing was supposed to be ramshackled, and I think it turned out quite nice. Now it's primed, I've put the blades on. What I did forget to film was I've glued just sand to the base. That's all that is. It's just PVA glue and sand left overnight to dry. The dirt on the bottom I painted just with the brown acrylic straight from the tub. Then once I'd done that, I mixed the brown with some black to give me a nice dark coating, which I did everywhere, all over the wood, and completely covered that. And then when that was dry, I got my white and bung loads of that in and mixed it up to make a much lighter brown, and went over the whole thing dry brushing. I did two. I did the dry brushing, and then I put even more white in, made it even more lighter, and then I did another lighter dry brush over the top. You can't really see how the dry brushing has panned out on this camera, but trust me, it looks magnificent. And that's it. That's the Windmill. It's done. It's nice and solid. Like I say, probably my favourite piece that I've ever built, and I'm going to do up some more fantasy pieces as well, because we love a bit of Kings of War, and I've just started playing Vanguard as well, and these will be ideal. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like any more advice, or if you just want to send us some money, that's great. Love you lots. See you soon.